Hello everybody, it's MTB Junkie. Today I'm going to be telling you some things you have to check before either a long, maybe a short ride. Short ride, not so much a problem, but a longer ride, definitely. It's a list of things to check. You need to do this, or face the consequences, I guess. So, let's get on to the first one. The first one, the most important one. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom. Tire pressure. Your tires might be amazing, brand new even, maybe Kenda. But if the pressure is wrong, you could either tackle up your wheel, slid out in, oh my god, I forgot the word, ruts, slide out in ruts, maybe not get enough grip. You gotta do it for your front and back. Back is even more important if you're on a hardtail, because you know how it goes. Getting your tire pressure right will mean you can do this on the trail. It will mean you can zip down it all the way with amazing skill, obviously. And it also means you can not only go down it. Going down is easy with any tire pressure, but back on the climb of a hill is when you really start to struggle and realize how important the pressure is. As you can see, I've got my pressure absolutely dialed. I run about 22 psi on each wheel. Bit on the low side, but it's very grippy on the loamier surfaces in the Surrey Hills. But that's why you need to always check your tire pressure. It is a must. 110%. If you don't do it, face the consequences, man. Next thing, brakes, especially your front one. Your front brake is important. You're going to use it to brake most of the time, and if it's not working, well, you can be in a little bit of a sticky situation. Make sure you check that brake 110%. Otherwise, think about it. You could be in a situation just like this one. See, I've dedicated myself to this YouTube channel, so I just wanted to show you how much work goes in. I put my camera here, I run. See, I don't even stop, I run back to my bike, which I've left somewhere. Yes, it's in the middle of the forest, and the chance of someone taking it is very low, but I run back to it. I get it just so I can shoot this steep technical climb, for me to come back and realize on my computer when I'm editing that it's not even that steep on camera. It's ridiculous, but I'll accept it, all for you guys. So imagine your front brake stops working, you're coming down a rooty place. What are you going to do? Yes, use your back brake, I know, but without it, me and you both know, if you've ever ridden a bike off-road, you know how important your front brake is, so make sure you check it. Don't neglect that front brake. Next thing you're going to want to check. You're going to want to check that rear brake. The rear brake is equally important. People act all stupid. You need to check your rear brake. It's an 110% accurate fact. Don't neglect it, guys. Remember. Next thing you want to check, your front derailleur. Front derailleur, if you've got one, most people now with newer mountain bikes run 1x setups, but for the less fortunate, it's not as easily affordable for everyone, you know? So make sure you check that front derailleur, or you could be stuck in one gear for a very long ride. The next thing you're going to want to check, your rear derailleur. It's important. How else are you going to shift through all your speeds if you don't have a if you don't check your rear derailleur? I've got a Tawny, but it could be anyone. The next thing you want to check, your pedals. Not so important if you ride often and you know what your pedals feel like, but you need to check stuff like if they're tight enough, because sometimes they do actually come undone. So do check. Plus, if the pins are wearing out, also check the crank arm and see if they're screwed tightly in, because sometimes I've heard horror stories where people say they've fallen off on rides, and you don't want that. Next thing you're going to want to check, your forks, your suspension. I don't have rear, I'm running a hardtail, but if you do, you're gonna have to check that too. If your suspensions feel bad, it can throw your whole day off. You're not gonna like your ride, you're gonna feel like it was a massive waste of time, and it might outright just be uncomfortable for you. So make sure you check it 3-4 times before you leave, even on short rides. Next thing you want to check, well, I thought this was going to be obvious, but if your handlebars, not your handlebars, if your stem isn't 100% straight, your handlebars won't be 100% straight, which means your steering might be a bit whack. So make sure they're 100% straight on every ride, short, long. You don't know when something could go wrong. You want to check it at least twice before you leave. Next thing you want to check, your seat height. This is more for dropper post users because I've heard how the dropper post sags sometimes, and you're going to want to have it at like a good setting before you leave always. For people who don't, something I like to do is keep a piece of tape around where I like my seat post height, so I know exactly where back to go. So that's probably a top tip for all of you. Now the next one, this one's a bit of a sticky one. You want to check your oh my god, it's gone off the top of my head. You want to check your headset, that's it, because if it's not tied in all the way, well, issues arise. Also, your stem, where your handlebars are, the rise can go up and down, so you want to check that too. All of these things might be small, but they're important. Another small but very important thing would be the way your shifters and brakes are. Your shifters and brakes, the way they're placed can have a huge effect on your riding. If they're a little bit lower, you get into a more aggressive position, especially with your hands, because you have to be a bit more leant over the bars, and it's mainly for like downhill. If you're more of a cross-country racer, you have them a bit tilted back, not back, but like in a middle position, and all of that. Next thing you're going to want to check, that's right, your back brake. I'm going to say it again because this is one of the most important things to check. Another tip I wanted to tell you, why I brought it back up, you see that red screw on it? Most people have something similar, maybe not red, but it will be there on the inside of their brakes. You can actually tighten that in for when your brake pads wear more. I've heard about some people's hydraulic brakes not having them, but on my mechanicals they definitely do. Next thing you want to check, which I've heard can actually throw you off your bike, is you're going to want to check if the spokes are fully tightened. Not fully, apparently some people run it on a lesser tension, but you want to check that it's correct, because your whole bike can go off true if they're not tight enough. And also they can stick out, they can puncture your wheel, it's crazy. Imagine you're going down a hill and that happens. So, last but not least, thank you for watching. This was MTB Junkie. This has been a couple of tips on what you need to do out on the trails. What you need to do before you hit the trails, I mean. Because if you don't, you could end up in a bit of a pickle. Think about all the things you've done up to this point. And if you hadn't checked them before, you would have been screwed. So, last but not least, this is a bonus tip for all of you. It's something people don't really think about checking, but your chain. You want to always check your chain. Make sure it's lubed up so it can run smoothly, and make sure the tension's right. If it's too loose, get a chain tensioner and tighten it up. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and all of that other stuff. Share it if you can. Thank you for watching. MTB Junkie out.